Hello everybody, it's Wendy, and today we are going to make a beautiful necklace using some metallic bead soup. So I'm here today for Jesse James beads. We're going to be using all Jesse James beads in this metallic bead soup, and it is going to be fabulous. So our encouraging word for today is you are one of a kind, and I thought this was very appropriate for bead soup because a lot of the beads in our bead soup are one of a kind. Because, well, not really one of a kind, but the only one of theirs kind left that you have. So there they are, but you are one of a kind. No one can accomplish the purpose that you are intended to accomplish, and you are special, so keep that in mind. I've got my wood candle here. Can y'all hear it? I don't know if you can hear that on camera, but it sounds like a fire burning, and I love it. I keep it here beside me. So bead soup, we all have it. It sits on our desk and stares at us and begs us to use it. And every day we look at it and we're like, oh, I need to use you, but we just don't. So today we're going to use our bead soup. So this is how I store my Jesse James bead soup. These are photo containers. I keep my Jesse James beads separate from all my other beads because I do specific projects out of them. So here is my silver bead soup. So it's got everything in here. It has charms, it has pendants, it has all the beads, anything silver that's left over from a mini mix. Oh, there's a gold one. It's out of place. From a mini mix or a strand goes in here. And I have one of these for every single color and metal. So these are rhinestone, anything like these rhinestone rondelles, these rhinestone beads. Here's my browns. So we have a lot of wooden beads in here, copper tones, so browns, and then here's my gold. And the reason that I just pulled out these four is because we're just doing metallic bead soup today, which I thought was kind of cool. When you hear bead soup, you hear, you think of all different kinds of beads, but we're going to do specifically metallic bead soup. This necklace is going to be so pretty. So this is how I store them. I love this. I have them all labeled, if you can see, and they stand like this in a tub, a big clear tub, and that's my Jesse James. It's all kept together, separated out from my other beads. So that's how I store that. So what you're going to need today is we're going to be using some beading wire, okay? So this is called Tiger Tail. It's called beading wire. This is Beadalon brand, and it is 7 strand, and I've got it cut into several different lengths here. I've got a 7.5 inch strand, a 9.5 inch strand, and a 10.5 inch strand, okay? Because these are going to kind of layer, and you need to have enough room to crimp them on the ends, so we've got different lengths here. And then I have another piece we're going to cut into a couple little smaller pieces, and you'll see that in a minute why we're going to do that, okay? I have got, some size 3 crimp tubes in here, and a couple of jump rings. You're just going to need a couple of jump rings and some size 3 crimp tubes. I'm using some bead bugs today because we've got all these strands, and I'm notorious for having my beads fall off the end of the strands. We don't want that. I have a rhinestone metallic clasp here. This is Jesse James brand rhinestone metallic clasp. I've got several different chains, so don't limit yourself to just beads, okay? When you do bead soup, pull out bead soup, pull out chain soup. So here's my chain soup. I've got some silver, I've got some matte gold, some bronze, or some antique bronze, and some shiny gold. And we're going to use all this chain. I have 2 cord ends. Now you can use anything. You can use a cap, whatever you have, any kind of cap, a bead cap if you have that is kind of long and will go down over what we're going to do, but you're going to need to be able to put all 3 strands up through this, okay? So just keep that in mind. And then here it is. Here is the bead soup. So look at this. It's luscious. I love it. Look at all this rhinestone sparkle. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I have used matte gold, shiny gold, antique silver, bright silver, copper, antique bronze. I have not used really gunmetal or rose gold in this, okay? And that's just because this is what I had and pulled out and liked together. And then we've got some flat bead soup. So these are some flat beads. There's a bead cap in there. I don't know why. But these are some flat beads, some rhinestone rondelles, just some wavy spacers, some daisy spacers, and we're going to be using these here as well, okay? So get your flat bead soup together, get your round bead soup together, and we're going to get started. I think that's all you're going to need, except for your jewelry tools, and if there's something I missed, we'll deal with it when we get to it. So I'm going to start with these 3 big beads right here and pull this up to the top. So I'm going to put the silver in the middle, the copper on top, and the gold on bottom, these 3 bigger beads. And then I'm going to separate these other beads out by size. So we've got our next size down, and then we have the size down from that, which would be this. These right here, and probably those. Okay, then we've got some rondelle type beads here that we'll use. I'm just going to put them all together. There's that one right here, and then probably this size. And you just want to try to kind of separate them out into sizes, because we're going to do kind of a graduating thing. We're going to start at the top, graduate down to the smaller beads. So let's put these here. These are the rondelle type. I'm going to put these up here with these just because they're going to kind of stand up that way, and I want them all to be matching on my necklace. Okay, let's do these. Then we've got this size right here. And then we have our smaller, pretty much everything down here is smaller. And the reason that you want to put your smaller beads at the bottom, at the ends of your chain, is because we're going to be having to put our chain up in those caps, and these bigger beads won't fit. So, you know, make sure you keep your smaller beads at the bottom. Okay, so I've got these all separated out into little size piles, okay? Here we go. All right, so let me scoot this over just a bit. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to starting with this size. I'm just going to try to mix the metal. So I don't want to put copper next to copper. You can if you want to. It's totally your decision, but I don't want to. So I'm just trying to mix up the metals a little bit here. So there's our next size down. That looks pretty good. And we're going to go here with these. Oh, I love these sparkly ones. Love them. They're so pretty. Okay, so we've got that one there. Let's do this silver guy here. We could do gold here. Let's see, let's do silver up top over here. Copper on the bottom. Let's do one of these golds in the middle. And I'm just trying to vary them. You know, I don't want to be side by side if I can help it. And I don't want 2 of the same metals to be side by side if I can help it. Now down toward the end, we won't have much choice because the little beads are all kind of similar. So we'll just have to kind of do our best down there. But okay, so I've only got 4 left. So I'm probably going to pull these 4 out and put them over here. Though I really, really like these sparkly ones. I wonder if I should just take, well, no, I like that guy too. All right, we're going to go this way. All right, so now we've got these. And let's do a bright silver up here. An antique bronze, and this brushed silver. We'll do the brushed silver up here, bright silver, and antique bronze. Okay, then we'll go with our rondelles, little flat kind of saucer beads. So, and again, I'm just trying to vary it a little bit. It's not a big deal. You can do it however you want. I think that, I just think varying it looks kind of cool. And I'm really wanting to use all these rhinestone things. These 3 I'm just going to put out. Okay, then we've got these. Now, we do have to kind of keep in mind our strand length difference. Okay, so we have a 7.5 inch strand and then a 9 inch strand, or 9.5 inch. So this is my top strand. So I can't make them longer than that. I have to keep that in mind. And so here's my middle strand and then my bottom strand. So let's go ahead and do a couple of these. So I'll do a gold one here. We'll do silver here and this gold down here. Go ahead on this side. We'll do this gold up here, the silver down here, and the shiny gold right here. Now, on the last two rows, let's see, let me see what we've got in inches here on this top row. Oops. So I have right at 5, so I can do another inch up here, but I need to get into my smaller beads. Or maybe another inch and a half. I could probably do a couple more of these, another row of these. And then over here. Okay. So there's another row of those. Now we're going to go into these littler ones. So let's see, we'll put him here, that one, well, let's not do, yeah, he's gold. Let's do silver over here if we can. I might do the gold one right here, okay? And then gold, silver, and I'll just do that gold one there. Okay, now this top row, we're getting down to be kind of, we're at 6 inches. So I'm going to do a few of the smaller beads up here. So let's see. Let's do this guy on this end, this one on this end, and then I'm going to go into these tinier ones. So here, might do a spacer, and then a couple of the little bronze or little copper looking thunder polish beads. Okay, so let's measure now. And we've got 7.5 inches. So I'm going to have to take a couple off because this is going to be, we've got to have room to crimp. So there we go. I think that'll work. Okay, so let's go ahead. No, let's not go ahead yet. Let's go ahead and do our other strands. Okay, so here we have our next longest one, which is, I believe, 9. Let me see if it's 9 or 9.5. Can't remember what I measured it out as. It is right at 9 inches, okay? So we need to add some more to the second strand. Let's do these two, and then I'll go into my smaller ones. So if that one is right about 7, we can kind of gauge this way on our other one. And we're looking at right about 9. And when you do put these on, of course, they're going to shrink up a little bit. So I'm going to keep it right like this. And I may end up having add a couple more there even. Okay, so we're going to do our bottom. Let's see, what do I have left? Okay, we'll do these two. Actually, on the bottom down here, I'm going to add a couple more of these. There we go. That's good. And then these two. And these two. And then we'll go into our smaller. Okay, and we've got our little thunder polish down here. These are on the Jessie James website, these thunder polish rondelles. They're absolutely beautiful. Check them out if you haven't. Okay, and then down here on the bottom, we've got, yeah, a little over 10. So we're going to go with this, and we'll see how it strings up here in just a second. We may have to add or take away. Sometimes you have to do that. Okay, so I'm going to start with my bottom strand. I'm going to put on a little bead bug. And I'm just going to my top strand, I'm sorry. I'm just going to string this top strand up. And like I said, when you put these on, it won't be as long as it is laid out here on your table because you've got space in between the beads out here. And excuse the alcohol links on my hands. I did wear gloves, but, I'm so messy when it comes to stuff like that. It just doesn't help if I wear gloves. I'm not liking this rondelle next to this. I'm going to switch these places. The rondelle next to that long bead. So I'm just going to switch places with these. That one will sit inside it better. If that makes sense. It does. Okay. And then we're going to put these on. And just make sure with these filigree ones that you try to get through the middle if you're using filigree type beads, you try to go through the middle hole and don't have it hanging lopsided on there, because sometimes they can be. And these are hard to get through with the tiger tail because it wants to go through everything but the middle hole. Especially when you're on camera. There we go. All right, our next one. And you can make these strands as long as you want. You don't have to do them the same length that I did, but I just like the way that that'll be okay, I think. I just like the way that they lay if you make them kind of the same length. But again, I mean, it's totally your own creative control. Do whatever you want. I'm going to run out of wire, I think. I may have to take a couple beads off this one so I can get it crimped. And here's another one that's hard to get through the hole in the middle. Whoops. There we go. Down to the end. Let's see if I have enough room. I don't have much room on the other end. All right, so let's see if I can get this thing crimped. Okay, so here we have it. Now I'm going to take my crimp tube. I'm not using wire guards on this. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. I'm not going to. I'm going to take my crimp tube. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get that crimped. I'm probably going to have to either take a couple beads off or cut a little bit longer in length of wire. I don't think I can get it done. It's very tiny. But what I'm doing is I'm going to bend my wire up and over, just like I would if I had a wire guardian in it, and go right back through my crimp. I'm just creating a small loop on the end. But yeah, I've got too many beads on here. So let's take off the two end ones on each end. Whoops. And that will probably give me just enough room to get it crimped. All right, so let's do this again. Put your crimp bead on, bend your wire up and around, make a little loop, and then come back through your crimp. Now, if you crimp this correctly, you don't have to worry about really making sure that there's extra wire coming out. A lot of times I like to tuck it through a couple of the beads, but if you crimp it correctly, it will hold. So I'm going to not worry about that this time because I've got so little wire left. I really kept myself short on this one. So I'm just pulling it up, and see my little loop there? I'm going to take my crimping pliers. I'm going to lay the crimp in the divot here. I'm even going to pull it up a little bit more, and I'm going to crimp it down. And when you do, it puts each wire in its own little channel. Then you turn it sideways here, and you close it up. Close it up tightly. And now that crimp is not going anywhere. It's very secure. Okay? If there's any wire left, just stick it down in the hole of your bead and pull. And we're going to do this other end. I hope I have enough to do this other end. Really cut myself short on the wire today. But I want to get all those pretty beads on there. Okay, so let's take it. Let's go up and over. You can use your crimping pliers to help you do this. And down through that crimp. And it's coming out right there. So I'm just gonna, I want to make sure that my beads are tight on here. They are. Okay. All right. Make sure it's coming out the bottom. And it's good if you can keep your wires from crossing over each other, but sometimes it's just about impossible to do that when you've got a tight little spot like this. Okay, so there is our first strand. And let's see what this measures out to be. Yep, it's right at 7 inches, so that's pretty good. Now we've messed up all of our other ones down here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to string on my second strand and my bottom strand, okay, just like I did my first one. If I can get them all in. Can't believe I did that. That makes me aggravated. And I'm just going to string them all on, and I'm going to crimp them just like we did the first one. Now, check your lengths, okay, down at the end. So this, you know, this wire, this piece that I have here is just a tad bit longer than this one, and it needs to be because it's going to lay below this. So if you don't think you have enough room to get your beads on and crimp, and I may not, I may even use the bigger piece of wire. Let's see. So if this one's 7, you know, I think I am. I think I'm going to go 10 with the second one, which would, I'll just use this piece that I had cut at 10. And then on the bottom one, I think I'm going to go ahead and go 12. I just want to be sure that I have enough to room to crimp and that they're going to lay right, okay? So you may want to do that too. It's totally up to you, whatever you want to do, but I think I'm going to go 10 and 12. And I'm just going to string on my next ones. So go ahead, string on your next 2 strands, crimp them, and come on back. Okay, so I've measured out my second strand, and I just wanted to go ahead here and show you guys. So the next strand before crimping is right at about 10 inches, which is good. So I'm going to go ahead and crimp it. So let's put a bead bug on this end so I don't drop all my beads off. Okay, and we're just going to do the same thing. Take our wire or our crimp, go up and over and around with our wire. Pull up. You don't want a big loop there, okay? You just need a small loop. Crimp it down and turn it sideways and crimp. All right, and then if you can slide a couple beads up over there, that's good. If not, just cut your wire. Looks like a couple of mine will slide up. And another thing when I'm making this, I wanted to point out, when you are crimping the second end of your strand, so I'll show you here in just a second. Let me get my cutters and cut that because it doesn't seem to want to go over this, go in this last bead. Okay, so when I do this, I don't want this to be so tight that it's poker. You want it to have some movement. So I just kind of let gravity do it. I dangle it down like this. Just make sure all your beads are together. You don't want a big gap in between any of them. But I just try to dangle it down and let gravity do the work for me. So, you know, you just don't want it to be poker straight, because when it's like that, it looks funny. It just doesn't move like it should, and it sticks straight out. So we don't want that. So I'm going down through a bead. One thing, another little tip here, is to grab your wire that's coming through. Take your plier like this and pull. You may have to do it with another plier. I may have to do it with this plier. But if you can grab that little end that's coming out and take this plier and hold it right here and then just pull on this end, it'll tighten that up. Well, or you can knock all your beads off the table. That's an option too. Usually this works a little easier. There we go. I don't know why that was being so difficult, but yeah, you can pull it down like that and it'll tighten everything up. But see how these have movement and they're not stick straight, poker straight. All right, and then I'm just going to crimp this one down. It's wanting to turn on me. There we go. Just like that. And then we'll trim this one off. Okay, and now when we look, as you can see, one is a bit longer than the other, so when we hang these together, they're going to lay like that, and that's what I'm wanting, okay? I don't know if I want quite that much space between them. Do I want to do my next one shorter and make that the middle strand, or do I want to leave this one this way? So what we're going to do, let me just cut a piece off of this. We're going to take this wire. So I've cut, you know, a little piece here, about 2 or 3 inches. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this wire like this and grab these. And then we're going to crimp it right here together. And so when it hangs, you know, they're going to hang like this, how they are in the wire. So I need to make sure that I don't have them too far apart either. Actually, that does look pretty good. I mean, if it gets much closer than that, it's going to be too much. So All right, so go ahead and do your third strand, and I'm going to do my third strand about 12 inches after I pick all my beads up out of the floor. And when you're done with that, come right on back. So I have my 3 strands, and I'm going to measure and show you what I ended up with. From the end of each loop on each side, the first one is right about just a tad under 7 inches. The second one is just a tad over 8 inches. And the third one is just a tad over 9 inches. Okay, so that's what I've ended up with. And we'll see how it works. Okay, so we're going to take all of our strands here. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to take 2 smaller pieces of the tiger tail. And I've got like, I don't know, 3-4 inch pieces here. It really doesn't matter. You don't need them too long, but you want it long enough to be able to get through. We're going to loop these together. So we're going to pick up our bottom row, our middle row, and our top row. We're going to bring this together, and we're going to take a crimp tube and put over both strands, just like this. Come on down to the bottom, and we're going to crimp it. Okay, and you don't need much room there. You need it to be kind of tight down to the beads, and we're just going to crimp this. Okay, and then we're going to close the crimp. Oops. There we go. Now this one, we're going to keep one strand on, and the other strand we're going to trim off right here. Okay, just like that. Do the same thing on your other side. Make sure you keep your strands in order. Your bottom, the middle, and the top. Oops. Okay, gather them up just like we did on the other side, and they are going to hang pretty perfect. Okay, and get your crimp tube on here. And I save all of my little scraps of tiger tail because you can do, or bead stringing wire, because you can do all kinds of different things with little pieces of it. So don't throw them away. Come on down. And just crimp. Okay, close that crimp up. And trim one side off. Alright, so once you do that, here's what you've got. Okay, now we're going to take our chain. Well, first of all, we're going to take our caps here. So I'm going to slide this cap on and just see how it fits. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I want my bottom strand to be on the bottom, so just fix those if you need to, if they're crossing. Okay, and I'm going to slide this other cap on over here and check it. Okay. Looking pretty good. All right. Now, I'm going to put some of my flat beads on here. So let's see what we got. I kind of think I want to do a rondelle, and it may have to slide down over your crimp. So just look at that. So I kind of think maybe something saucer shaped would work better. If this one will slide over my crimp. And see, it doesn't want to, and my thing slides down here, so I have to pick a different bead. So I may even have to go with one of these saucer beads with the bigger hole, because they should slide down over it, and that's fine. Just go with the bigger hole bead. There we go. See how that slides down over? And that fits pretty perfectly. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Just make sure. Okay. And then I'm just going to layer a few of these flat beads. I just think these are really cool looking. I'm just going to pick the bronze, the gold, some of this gold, maybe the saucer bead. If I can get it through there. There we go. A rhinestone rondelle, And I'm going to do the same on the other side. Let's see what I've got. I've got the metal, silver metal spacer. This little antique bronze flower spacer. Big daisy. My saucer. And this rondelle. Actually, I'm going to use that one, okay? So here's what we have. And then, let's see, let's go with, well, that's a bead. Let's go with a copper daisy spacer. Actually, I need something smaller in there, I think, to fit inside that rhinestone rondelle. So let's do, there were some smaller ones. Here we go. Let's do this little gold one. Yeah, that'll go in there better. Gold one on this side. Then we'll do the copper. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to do the small gold one. Do I have another one of those? Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. Small gold one there, small gold one here. And then I'm going to finish off with, I'm going to do one of these little gold spacers that I was actually using on the necklace. And then I'm going to finish off with one of the thunder polish beads on the top. Okay, and here's a thunder polish. And same thing on the other side. And then I'm going to do the same thing that I've been doing. I'm going to crimp. I'm just going to make a little loop and crimp. Same thing I've been doing the whole time. And again, you can use a wire guard if you want. It's totally up to you. I'm just going to make a loop. Go back down through a couple of my beads if I can. Sometimes it's really hard to get back down through these tiny ones, so if you can't, but try to, because it does look better if you get down through it. And see if I can grab that little end here and pull. There we go. Then you can take your plier and put it in here. Don't close it, just hold it in there, and take your other plier and pull on the loose end, and hopefully it will pull down. It's kind of hard sometimes, but usually it will when you have these tiny beads on there. Kind of hard. You just don't want your beads to go flying everywhere. That's what happens to me. Okay, so I'm going to pull this one down. And I'm just making a very small loop here, not a very big one, just big enough to hook onto my chain. Okay, I'm going to crimp this one. Actually, I need to see if I can get that just a tad smaller. Okay. There we go. That's a little bit better. I just want it to be tight. Okay, flip this over and go ahead and crimp and turn this sideways and close your crimp. Now if you want, you can use a crimp cover on it. I'm not going to. I'm just letting the metal show. Okay, and then go ahead and trim your extra piece off, just like that. Okay, same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm going to go back down through this guy, if I can. Yeah, these little tiny beads are sometimes really hard to get your wire back down through, but you really do need to try to go through the one. It just makes it look a lot better, I think. Whoops. Okay. Try this again. me scoot this way up so I've got room and try to get this little guy through here. I know it will go. It's just lining it up right. Lining it up right, that's the key to everything, right? Oh my goodness. Okay. It is quite fiddly, but the end result is really pretty. I love all these metals together, just so pretty. All right, get down through there now. We don't have time for this little bead. Okay, there we go. All right. Gonna pull that down. Try not to kink your wire. There we go. All right, same thing. Oops, got a bead in there. Okay, pull it tight. Alrighty, now I'm gonna crimp this one down. Just a little tighter in there, make sure it's good. And try to make your loop on this side about the same as your loop on the other side. That's kind of important too. Okay. Crimp it down, turn it sideways, close your crimp up, and trim your wire. All right, so there's what we've got. A lot of metal lusciousness. Rhinestone metal, really, really pretty. Okay, now we're going to take our chain, and I just have a bunch of scraps of chain. I think I'm going to start out, let's see here. Now, one thing that you do have to decide is how long you want this to hang on you. I like a necklace like this to hang up high. I don't like it to be very long, and so I know for a necklace that I like to hang high, kind of around my collarbone, I like it to be about 24 inches. So if I measure this, you know, right here, I've got about, let's see, go around to the bottom strand and up, I've got about 13 inches, okay? So I need about 10.5 inches on each side to make my 24. So let's look here. I think I want to start with this metal, and then let's see. Oh, actually, I may start with that one. Okay, so we're going to start with this one, go into this one. So let's see, are these the same? Close to it. Yeah, those are really close. It looks like I may have to cut off this one link on this one, though, to make them even. So let's do that. I love this chain. This was called Lauren's chain in matte gold, and I think they have it in matte silver, too. This was one of my favorite chains right here that Jesse James has ever had. I love this chain. I've used it on a lot of stuff. Okay, so those are even. Then we're going to hook this guy on. And let's see. Actually, I might just hook them on the necklace as we do it. So let's do that. Will this link open? This link won't open. So you're going to have to use a couple jump rings. So let's just hook these on as we go. I think it'll be a little bit easier to do it that way. That way I can kind of measure and see what we've got going on. So we're going to hook this one on. I'm just going right onto here and then right on. Just like this. On that side, same thing on the other side. Okay, close that up. Make sure your links are closed really good because those little pieces of wire will slip out. And like I said, if you were going to sell this, if I was going to sell this, I would most definitely use a wire guardian, but I'm keeping this one for myself, so I'm not really too worried about it, but you definitely could use a wire guardians. All right, so 24 inches. Here's 12. So we needed 10.5 inches of chain. So right here we've got 2. Let's add in here. Let's go up to 6 with the silver. Actually, let's do a little less. Let's do about 4.5 with the silver. So I'm going to cut it right there on this side. Same thing on this side. I'm just going to line these two up, make sure I get it the same. Cut right here. Okay. Pull out a couple of jump rings. Probably use silver ones on this. Doesn't really matter. You could use the gold or the silver. But I try to use really small ones, especially when I'm hooking chain together. That way it's not as noticeable that you've hooked it together with a jump ring. The smaller your rings are, the better off, okay? So actually those aren't the same size, are they? I have all my jump rings together in one container, which I know is probably not the best way to do it, but that's the way I've always done it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and hook our two silver links, or silver chains on. And this chain does kind of have a front and a back. So you want to make sure, and see, I think well, did I get it? I hope I got it to the front. It'll show. If I didn't, then I'll have to switch it, but I think I did. Just try to lay them out flat and get them on there. Okay. Alright, so there's our silver. Now, let's see here. We've got some of this gold and antique bronze. Let's do a couple links of the antique bronze. So right now, I am up to about 5 inches. So let's do to about 7 with the antique bronze. So we'll go ahead and cut it. We'll go here. Okay, same thing for the other side. Right here. Little chain pieces everywhere. Okay, and I'm just going to stick with my silver jump rings for this because I think they're fine to go into the antique bronze. Actually, those are dark, aren't they? Let's not use those. That would be distracting. There we go. Two smaller. Alright, and then we're going to use, whoops, this really chunky gold to finish it. So here we go with our silver little ring, and we'll go right into this guy. Okay, hook it together. And again, make sure your rings are closed up really good because this is some thin little bits. I am hoping I put that one on right. It looks like it's flipping, but I hope not. We'll see when I pick the whole thing up. It'll definitely show. If not, it's just opening a couple rings to change it. That's really all it is. Okay, so let's close this one up, and then we're going to do our chunky gold to finish it off. Oh my goodness, I'm having trouble with my small things today for some reason. There we go. All right. And then we're going to finish up with our chunky. So let's measure one more time. Here I've got it at 7, so I needed 10.5. So we'll go, I'm going to cut it right at about probably 9.5 because I do want to keep enough room for the clasp. So I'm going to go right about here. I don't like these kind of necklaces to be too long, so I don't want to go too crazy with it. All right, here's the other end. Let's do the same thing. Cut it right here. And this already has a little ring on it. I don't know if I can, I'll try to just hook it straight on there. We'll see if it works. Yep. Looks like it will. If I can get it closed. Not a good fine motor skills day for this girl. Don't know why. Some days are better than others. I think it's, well, it's a little sideways. Let's close it a little bit better than that. Don't want it to come open. There we go. Okay. And last one over here. You can hear my candle, it's making all kinds of noise. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Okay. I know, maybe trying to hold this with my crimping pliers isn't the best thing, but they do have such a fine little tip that sometimes it's easier, sometimes not though. Let me grab my others. Sometimes these don't grip as well, I don't feel like. Fiddly stuff. That's jewelry making for you though. Oh my gosh. I should have just used another jump ring apparently, but I didn't on the other side, so I'm going to try to get it closed here. And I think I got it. Yep, it's actually closed up really well. Okay. All right, so here we go. Now we're just going to hook our clasp on. So we've got our metallic clasp here. I am going to grab another jump ring out so I don't totally frustrate myself, okay, and you all. So I've got a little oval ring here. I'm just going to hook the clasp right on, and I think this is going to be just the right length. Okay, so one side on here. Okay, we'll do our other side. And there we have it. Really, really cute, 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 cute. Okay, so I love all these metals. So let me try this on, and I may, yeah, it's actually a little longer than I want it to be. So I may just actually take this section off and put the clasp just on the antique bronze, or I may just cut this right here and leave a couple. It's just a little bit longer than I want it to be. I thought it was going to be pretty good, but let's take a little off. You can always use these little chain pieces and other things later, like earrings, you know, whatever you want, or a connector. Just save them. I save every little one. I don't get rid of any little scraps, hardly. I'm funny that way about my jewelry making stuff. I save everything. Now in real life, if I haven't used it for a year, it goes. I don't keep it. I'm not a hoarder by any means, except for jewelry stuff. Now jewelry stuff, I'm a hoarder. It's terrible. But everything else, no way. If I haven't used it in a year's time, then I don't need it. And I donate it to somebody who will use it. I have a relative who keeps everything. I mean, like, they never get rid of anything. And it's just like the weirdest thing. I've never seen anything like it. They really just their house is just a museum for furniture, like that they won't get rid of. And it just seems so unnecessary to me. I'm like, why do you need 5 couches? Nobody needs 5 couches. There's 2 people living in this house. Nobody needs 5 couches. But she won't get rid of anything. And I don't want to be that way. All right, so here we go. Now let me try this on and see. Yeah, that's better. That is better. Okay, so I am going to try this on for you guys. I'm going to go spiff up a little and then put this on. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so here's the necklace. This is really right about where I want it to hang. I like it like this. I do have to say that I will probably change the clasp on this because the magnetic clasp, though beautiful, is not super strong, and this is a little heavy, and it's I think it's coming apart too easy. So I'll probably go ahead and change the clasp, either put a lobster or a toggle or something like that, just a little more secure than the magnet. But I really like this. I like the way it turned out. I love all the metals. I think they're so pretty. And there's an up close look at it. I just think it's really, I love all the sparkle and the different metals together. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will go ahead and put it on a forming video, just so you can see it a little bit, you know, in its element or whatever. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe on YouTube. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm almost at 13,000. I'm so excited. So please go and subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.